Hey, it's Silm. I got a lot of things I would love to talk about today, and I'm going to. But man, like, the world is going crazy, huh? I hope everyone out there's doing okay. There's just a lot of overhead and overarching clouds that are encroaching on everyone's peace and joy lately. And it's even worse in other parts of the world. So I am just here hopeful that everyone's doing okay, that everyone's making it through. So without further ado, let's get into what we want to talk about today. So the killing of the supreme leader in Iran has been the big touch point of the week, of course. There's a lot going on in that whole situation. There's a lot behind that situation. There's a lot of people involved. There are a lot of groups that are happy. There are many more that are angry. It is a high, tense situation. It's one that is on everyone's mind. It's giving a lot of anxiety to a lot of different people around the world. I really have been debating saying something about it, but there are a lot of things to say about it. First and foremost, killing is never the answer, really. It should really never be the answer. I don't think. It's an easy option, apparently. For some people, the killing option is the one that is the most direct and most straightforward. And for America, it seems to be the most easy to operate, and Israel as well, right? I don't agree that, just straight up killing the guy was the way to go. I don't think there really needed to be a way to go right now, especially without any kind of procedure. So I've read so far, there was no, pre-approval to go and strike or bomb anyone. And even if it was a joint collaboration with Israel, I do not think the United States was in the right to be able to just, like we always do though, but to be able to just throw bombs at another country and dispose of a supreme leader like that. Regardless of what Khamenei is responsible for, I don't think that is the right and just path to getting some kind of resolution out of whatever situation is happening. Now, if you have been following everything in Iran, I highly encourage anybody to actually, if you're going to be looking through all the information at large, make sure you're getting your background information right. Make sure you are studying the situation at hand, including its history and including its past, rather than just what is happening right now and what people are saying right now. There is a lot of history there with Iran's Islamic regime. In the 80s, there was a large cultural war that shifted Iran's kind of trajectory religiously and politically to a more Islamic regime. Islam is not bad, but it can be used to oppress people, just like any religion. So, at its current state, Iran is a heavily Islamic regime. Women are particularly oppressed in Iran. So there's just a lot of that going on over there. Mostly as a result of the leadership there, so far as I know. And it's just a hard topic. It's a hard one to broach. It's a hard thing to justify killing a leader over. But at the same time, there's a lot of people celebrating it. There are a lot of groups that have been truly hurt by that regime. There are a lot of groups that have been oppressed for many, many years, decades, as a result of that regime. And so it's a tough point, because on one hand, killing this leader has brought peace in some ways, and on the other hand, we just dispatched of a world leader just because we can, right? I don't know if there's justice in that, and I don't know if there is due process in that. There definitely isn't. So there's not much that I can say as a bystander. There's not much that I can really affirm or deny. All I can speak to is what I have read and what I feel like I know. I do not know everything, and I have not read everything. But I do know in my heart that there are things wrong with this situation. There are better options out there that exist that could come to a better resolution in a lot of ways, I feel. Now, have those options been breached quite a bit? Yes, they have. There's been a lot of discussion back and forth with that leader, and there's been no movement from Iran. There's a lot of hatred on Iran's side, on Iran's higher political scale towards the United States, and that's where it originates as well. A lot of hatred, a lot of propagandization. There's just a lot there. It's such a hard situation. There will be justifications from either side on whether or not what the US did and what Israel did was right or wrong. But regardless, there will be destabilization. There will be a lot of change on the horizon for Iran. And like I said, there's a lot of people that are actually happy that this has happened. A lot of people who were heavily oppressed and who were treated extremely poorly by Iran's leadership and, excommunicated or exiled from the country in one way or another. People who escaped the regime in that way too. There's a lot of different perspectives out there. I highly encourage you to see all of them for what they are. Even the ones you don't agree with, try to look at it from an angle of, okay, let's try to understand why we did this and the feelings and emotions that kind of led up to that. I don't particularly agree with this outcome. I think it sets a really awful precedent that if we find an organization or a leader to be terroristic in nature, then we just go and kill them. I don't subscribe to that, but our leaders do. Isn't that something? Now, the other side of the coin here too is when we do throw bombs at people, we really need to understand where we're throwing these bombs. We need better planning. We need better decision making, because it's not okay to kill school children just for the sake of throwing a missile somewhere and thinking that's where someone is. It's really not okay. And what's even further not okay is using, children as shields to protect yourself, of course. Like I said, the back and forth of this situation is monumental. There's no winning in this situation, because there's going to be so many different opinions and thoughts concerning it. I'm just laying out my thoughts and opinions. These are my own, no one else's. Just what I feel based on what I've known, what I've seen, what I've read. So I'm curious what everyone else is thinking and feeling. There is a lot circulating on this, a lot of thoughts and opinions circulating on this. The United States has become this country now where we can go and just kidnap a world leader. We can go and just kill one too. And we can do whatever we want, it would seem. What precedent does that set for everyone else? What precedent does that set for other leaders in the US? We got to think about these things, and we got to figure it out and find a way to come to a better approach moving forward. But let me know what you think. There's just a lot going on with it. And I'm very sorry to the communities that are going to be suffering as a result of all of this. Not my place to apologize, but there's just going to be a lot moving forward here. So let me know what you think. When it comes to teaching people and coaching people, there's such a fine line that exists between being a good teacher and a bad teacher, and between being a good person and a poor person, poor being bad. Teachers at large are wholly responsible for the development of individualism, for the development of people's knowledge, and the wrong kinds of people can be in that position very often. It's really easy to feel like you have so much power over a person when you are their teacher. All over the world, there are so many different instances of, teachers kind of really overreaching in their grasp. But then there's also so many instances of teachers being that point of strength for students, for individuals, to find hope and to find leadership for them to propel them in the direction that they need in their life. Teachers are necessary. They're wholly necessary. They're a part of really just humanity at large. Your mom and dad, they're teachers to some regard. If you become a parent, you are, in essence, preparing to be a teacher for your child. But teaching is hard. You are responsible for guiding and leading that person to becoming something better than themselves as they currently are. And that is a massive responsibility. So, don't know what really my point is trying to be for this, though. Being a teacher is just hard. And I think teachers deserve a lot more respect than they are given. But at the same time, if you're becoming a teacher, or if you know a teacher, or if you are a teacher, you got to recognize that there is that really, really fine line between being a good teacher and being an oppressive leader. I think that there are a lot of situations, like I said, where, a teacher can just really overreach. And there are a lot of situations where teachers can lead to the downfall of students just as they can lead to the growth of those students. It's a really, really fine line. I come across it every now and again in my own work and in my past. I used to teach in a couple ways. I used to develop lesson plans and be that point of contact for younger people. And even right now in my work, I teach my younger subordinates how to do their jobs too. And I found that in that work, it is really, really easy to get upset or annoyed with a student because they don't get a concept, especially if you're not prepared for that kind of work. And to do that every single day. I mean, some days are better than others. Some days you're more prepared to talk or speak to a student, but some days you're not. Some days it's a bad day. Some days you're not ready to have an involved conversation about, logistics of a process or the theology or thoughts behind why we are thinking this way. It's hard. It's really, really hard. And it's always hard. It is, in essence, one of the hardest jobs in the world to teach. Because to do it right is to commit yourself fully to it. And that's one of the hardest parts about it. It's really hard to commit yourself to not just one person, but several peoples, all of them different, all of them needing different styles of communication, different approaches, different formats in which to teach, in which to give them information that they can finally understand, that they can fully grow with. That is the hard part. So, if you're thinking about teaching, I really salute you. Teaching is hard. If you know teachers, if you come into contact with teachers, understand that these people are trying. Understand too that some of them might not really be the best for the position they're in. That is a reality. And that's something that we need to acknowledge as well. It's really hard in a world that needs more teachers to discern which ones are going to be good and which ones are going to be a little on the iffier side, a little bit more abusive, a little bit more power hungry in that way. It's really, really hard to discern that. And it's harder still to just find a good person to teach your children anything. So it's a big situation there. What's been your thoughts and opinions about that? What have your experiences been with good or bad teaching? When you find a good teacher, you know, you really know, man, this person rocks. So I want to know what those moments have been for you guys. Let me know. I'd really appreciate it. So Crocs, right? Crocs are so ubiquitous. Obviously, I would assume most people in the US have Crocs. Most people in the world, a lot of people in the world have Crocs or something similar. If you've ever perused Crocs and their wares, you know that they come in like such a variety of different colors and combinations and styles and textures and materials and all that kind of stuff. What I am very curious about, and what I've been thinking about, is what if Crocs had a customization tool where you could apply any form, any style, any texture, any gibbets, any layout, any material to the shoe that you want to make. You can customize it to be whatever you want, and then they can ship it out to you. That would be like awesome. That would be great. I would love a like a clog style, but with light ride texture, but has fur on the interior, so it's plush and it's soft and it's spongy and it's awesome, but then it fits around your whole shoe, whole foot, and then it's like you're a Croc, you know? You have to be pretty passionate about Crocs to think about them that way. I've been wearing Crocs for a long time. I'm not currently wearing Crocs out on a long walk, but I wear them every now and again just to feel comfortable. They're the greatest little comfy shoe there is, I think. One of them at least. But they're great house slippers as well, just walking around. But regardless, don't you think that would be cool? Just having a whole customizer? It would be awesome. It's never gonna happen. That is such a complicated process, especially from a manufacturing standpoint, that is like impossible. Or it would be such a financial loss for Crocs to be able to invest so much into that customization, manufacturing like output, just to maybe have some people participate in it. It's a huge risk, and companies don't really take those. But don't you guys think that would be just awesome? There's so many different kinds of Crocs in so many different formats, and I feel like none of them actually like really hit on the thing that everyone actually wants them to be. People want that really plush material. People want that, you know, that fur, like, or like that coating on it or whatever. Like, I don't know. That would be very interesting, I think, to see out in the wild like that. And to be able to just make your own Croc and make it yours. What are your experiences with Crocs? I know there are a lot of people out there who wear them and who wear them religiously. So let me know your thoughts. For every coordinated effort ever, there was a meeting of people behind it. Just kind of think about that for a sec, right? Anything you could think of that needed any amount of coordination had a group of people that sat down and talked about it before it came to fruition, right? I don't know, I find that so interesting. Like, you could look at so many different things, from the placement of trees in a park to coordinated missile strikes in another country. There were people that sat down and talked about that before it took place. I just find that so crazy, so wild, that a meeting was scheduled, a meeting took place, and people discussed the pros and cons about all these different things potentially and how they took place. Now, of course, there are a lot of individual leaders in different areas of work. There are a lot of individuals that just make decisions, and that's that. But certainly they talked to somebody beforehand, before something was done or made. So I like to think about that from time to time. the stupid decisions that we think just happen, you know, like stupid things we find out in the wild, silly ways that things are done. It's not usually just like one person that made that happen. It's like a group of them. Like a group of people made something silly happen or occur. And the more I think about that, the more I just kind of wonder who those people are. What kinds of people are making these kinds of decisions, you know? And if it was a group effort, how many people in these groups are like ridiculous? How many people, is this a whole group of people that don't know what they're doing? Is it a whole group of people that are just daft? I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting at here, but I had that thought recently that anything that feels like it needed to be coordinated in some way was organized by not just one person or done by just one person, but was sat down and discussed by multiple people in like a boardroom setting or something like that. And then it went forward. So I think it just comes to light that sitting down and discussing things before they happen doesn't always lead to a great outcome, or doesn't always lead to a perfect outcome. It depends on the kinds of people that are in that meeting and the actual kinds of beliefs and discussions that are had leading up to that decision that actually make it real and actually make it worthwhile in some way. I don't know. Just a little thought. What do you think about it? So I'm finally going to be talking about K-pop here. I love K-pop. Back, gosh, it's been many, many years. Goodness, like almost 10 years ago, my wife got into K-pop. We discovered, you know, several different groups like Mamamoo and like Girls' Generation and like all these different girl groups of the age, right? And we were just hooked. She got hooked and she got me hooked, and we've been avid K-pop listeners ever since. And to see the evolution of where K-pop is now compared to then, it's just insane. Now I am a hag, of course. In terms of K-pop fans, you know, we are OG listeners. I listened to EXO when, you know, they released, you know, Call Me Baby. It's been a while, right? It's been a long journey in K-pop, but I'm really excited for where it is right now. It's been a really interesting journey, to say the least. You know, K-pop Demon Hunters has brought K-pop to a wide range of audiences, like way more than Blackpink, way more than aespa even could have imagined trying to do. It's just so shocking sometimes to see the scale at which K-pop has grown. And I've been really excited to see where it can go from here, and especially with all these other groups that are coming back. You know, EXO obviously has been coming back for a couple of albums recently. Mamamoo is going to reunite here, which is amazing. We actually had seen their world tour when they came to the US in Tennessee. And that was awesome. It was incredible to see Mamamoo. We have yet to see Twice and others, aespa, etc. But I mean, even the new generation of K-pop is exciting to see as well. You know, I've just had an album release, XG's album that came out, their X-pop style, Japanese. I mean, it's beautiful to see, and I love to see people being creative in their talents, growing in that way. But it's just kind of incredible to see how that growth is skyrocketing. I love to see that stuff. I'd also love to see people just making just incredible music. Obviously, big fan of IVE. I've been a day one listener for IVE. Like Luna, I was a really big Luna stan before they disbanded, and then now they're more or less Artemis. There's been a lot of growth, a lot of fluctuation, a lot of different styles that have come out of it. I know it's cringe, but whenever you have an opportunity, go and watch the old music videos from the hags of K-pop and juxtapose them against like what is coming out today. I mean, Blackpink just released Go, and the Go music video is like one of the most just incredibly directed things like I've seen in a long time. Like the vision for that music video is just kind of a wow moment, in my opinion. I really, really loved it. And the kinds of sounds that XG is putting out there. XG's newest album, The Core, I've listened to it nonstop for like weeks now. I love the style that they're going for. I love what they've been doing. And K-pop isn't without its problems. K-pop isn't without its problematic practices and its problematic people. But ultimately, I think K-pop in general is the bleeding edge of what music is and what music is to become. Now, I don't only listen to K-pop. I listen to J-pop, I listen to C-pop, listen to J-rock and C-rock, even K-rock. I mean, I listen to the whole spectrum here. And I really do believe, they're putting so much money and so much effort into K-pop for better or worse. There's a lot of problematic stuff over there, a lot of problematic practices that I really don't agree with. But man, the product coming out, it's impossible not to get involved in. K-pop Demon Hunters, right? It's the style that came out of that. It's the most honed in K-pop music that was dialed in for the American audience. That is in its perfect form for America, at least. I just can't even believe what they were able to accomplish musically with that. I'm so excited for EJ and the gang to have their moment like this. I think everyone is. It's been incredible. It's been truly incredible. And then even Rosé, like Rosé when they came out with, when she and Bruno Mars came out with Apata, like those moments are really strong. They're really something. And it really brings K-pop and just foreign music to a wider audience. I always think that's great. I have so many opinions about K-pop. I have so many different opinions about a lot of different groups. And not negative opinions, really. Just, I enjoy K-pop. I'm an enjoyer. I'm not a hater. I don't try to hate. If you're a hater, stop hating so much. Just appreciate. And, call out the problematic stuff when you see it. But there's no need to hate people for what they do or say. Like, you can not follow them and you can, not appreciate the things that they do or say, but you don't need to hate them and make their lives awful. That's a thing about the K-pop community that I really don't like or agree with. We need to stop doing that, please. Regardless, what do you guys think about K-pop? I know that there's a lot of people out there that really like K-pop. I'm one of them. So let's talk about it. I'd love to. Please, let's get some chats going on. So imagine you're at work, you're working away, you're on your laptop, you're on your computer, whatever, and you get an email, and depending on the wording of that email, sometimes it can just launch you into a good day or a bad day, right? It's so funny how often we really come into contact with each other on a non-face-to-face basis. Obviously, people who are in the comments on YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, we are constantly interacting with people that we don't know and don't see. Those are really all so many opportunities to be kind, to actually influence somebody's day in a nice way. It's not necessary to be ill-worded all the time, to, inject your thoughts and negativity onto others through the comments and texts or emails that you send. I always find it so interesting when recently, this example, right? Recently, I was working with someone on Fiverr to have, a voiceover made for a video I was making for my company. And it's so interesting how much better of a conversation, how much better of an experience you can have when you're kind to the person on the other end. at any time like that where you're able to just interact with someone no matter how far away they are, and no matter if you won't interact with them ever again. It's not an opportunity, in my opinion, not an opportunity to attack that person. It's not an opportunity to, be rude or unkind to that person just because you can't see them. It's an opportunity to make that person's life good. Wouldn't you like the same? I love receiving an email or a message that's like, hey, you're doing great. Oh, I really like this. Hey, could I get this thing? I'd like to request this thing, but I'll be nice to you and interacting with you about it. Oh, that's okay. Let's reformat it this way, if that's all right. Let's go just a different direction. Sorry for the inconvenience. Something like that, where you can just have an opportunity to be nice. You can be direct. Directness isn't like, wow, that was interesting. Directness isn't bad. I mean, you need to be direct to be able to make things happen. But being direct isn't always equated to being unkind. You can be kind and direct. You can get what you want without being rude. It's possible. It takes effort, but you just need to put a little bit of effort into things. So, I don't know. It's a weird apple box to stand on, of course. But I really believe that people want to be interacted with kindly. And I think that's true. I think you do. I think I do. I think everyone does. So why not be that person that is kind to other people? Why not be that person that makes the other person's experience great? As a result, if you are making somebody else happy and have a great experience with their life, don't you think you'll receive that happiness in return? I think you will. Happy people treat other people well. Wouldn't you think? It seems like common sense, but maybe it's not. Next time you're talking with someone online and you want to have a good experience online, just be kind. Be kind to the people you're interacting with. Next time you send that email, look it over and say, man, am I being kind today or am I being an asshole? Try it out. It helps. I really believe in it. I believe in just being kind to people no matter what comes your way. The more kind you are to somebody, the more kindness you get in return. That's been my experience. Now, I know there are some people that you can be so kind to, but in return, there'll always be shit. That's true. That's a reality. You know who those people are, and you know the ways that you need to interact with those people to get what you need. And if you can't get anything out of that person, you need to not interact with them. You need to just be like, okay, I don't need to interact with this person as much as I do. I can be flat. I don't need to be mean, but I don't need to give them more energy than they're worth. That's okay. But it's not the same for every single person in the world. Some people are kind, some people are not kind. It is up to you to modulate how much kindness you give, but I don't think the answer is ever give negativity. What do you guys think about that concept? Let me know. We're coming up on another graduation season. For high school, for college, there's a lot of people that are graduating and moving on, right? My experience in high school for people who were graduating, a lot of my friends were older than me in high school. Most of them, if not all of them. Not all of them, but most of them were older than me in high school. And when they graduated, I was left alone. It's kind of the harsh reality of having friends that are mostly, older than you or a different grade than you. That next year after they all graduated, I was just alone. And I know, and I'm not sure if that happens for anybody else, but for those of you with friends that are much older than you, the only people you interact with are upperclassmen in America and other parts of the world. It really sucks when they're all gone. It gets really lonely. That friend group that you had just kind of disappears. They all do the things that they've got to do. They got to move on with their lives. And you might stay in contact, sure, but in my case, I wasn't that kind of person. I didn't really reach out too often because I didn't really see worth in myself at that time. So I didn't really give it a thought. I didn't think people really wanted to know me, interact with me, that kind of thing. But when I had friends, they were all older than me, and they were all upperclassmen. So I don't know. I think that's for a lot of people, that kind of season might be coming up. If you have a lot of friends that are upperclassmen, it might be coming close to time where they start to leave and kind of exit from your life. I hope that they don't exit too hastily for you. But if that is something that you might feel like you've been through or are going through, let me know. I'm curious about that. I have a lot of history. Well, not history, but I've lived a lot of life. I've seen a lot of things, experienced a lot. Curious what you guys have seen and experienced as well. So the Olympics are over. We saw a lot come out of Milan. A lot of great things, a lot of not great things. But one of the things I had read about was people's descriptions of what was going on in the Olympic Village, and especially the meal area, the eating area that was there. A lot of people who are competing against each other, and people who see those people competing against each other, they just assume, oh, those guys are like probably rivals or enemies, or that's what they're always shown as in the movies and shows and TV, right? But the reality is so far off. I read that people come together, they're competing in the same sport, but they're so supportive with each other. And when they're eating in their lunchroom, in their meal area, their canteen in the Olympic Village, there's so much unity there. People from all over the world that don't speak each other's languages really, but they still come together and they sit down with each other and they eat a meal and they have a great time. They have a wonderful time getting to know each other. They have a wonderful time just talking with each other, bonding with each other. Not necessarily about their sports, but just about being individuals in the world. I think that's wonderful. I think that's amazing. And I feel like it's an ideal I would love for all of us in the world to strive for. I would love for that kind of unity to come to fruition, to come to pace, right? Have people in the world loving each other, coming together and just, being friends. Obviously, it's a really far-fetched ideal, apparently, and it is an ideal. It's idealistic. It won't exist today, and who knows if it'll exist tomorrow. But what is reassuring is that it existed in Milan. It existed at the Olympics. It existed in a space. People came together and just were kind and just were loving being together and, interacting in that way and having fun and eating great food. I think that's awesome. I think that's lovely. I think that's wonderful. And I like to think about that as what I hope the world can be someday. That would be awesome. Let me know what you think. Another big piece of news from this week was Xbox, the Xbox shakeup, right? Phil Spencer retiring, Sarah Bond out, Asha Sharma, the AI executive, coming in to fill the role. I don't know how I feel about the Asha Sharma's position yet. She seems like she's going to be great. From what she has said in the press about her, they're really creating a narrative that she's going to do good. For the company. We'll see if that actually pans out and if it's all just fluff up my ass. But smoke up my ass even, whichever. But the thing I was thinking about was, Sarah Bond being out. Her legacy was Xbox Online, right? And that was like the thing that she staked her career on. The success of Xbox Online, the success of cloud gaming, the success of Game Pass, that kind of thing. What it had me thinking about was the philosophies of CEOs and executives, right? And in those kinds of big leadership positions, you really stake your entire career on one concept and that concept only. And it's the thing that you want to make your legacy. That's the footprint you want to leave. You decide that and you stake everything on it and you go for it. And in the end, sometimes the thing you've really pushed for and went for all that time did not work out, and yet you still pushed for it because at that point, it became your identity. And it became the thing that if you failed at this thing, you are a failure. That's the corporate mindset, right? And that's just so stupid. It's really dumb. but that's how it works, right? So like all the different like weird fucking like decisions that we see coming out of, you know, Silicon Valley, out of like corporate stuff, like all these weird initiatives like, augmented reality and meta AI and AI in general and all these different things, all these different like services that were like, is this fucking for real? Like, these are stupid, like these stupid services or decisions that like have remade a process or a way of thinking. And we as consumers are like, what the fuck? But the companies themselves really commit to it. All of those are seemingly a result of those leaders like Sarah Bond, who staked their entirety of existence on this concept that they pitched to a board a long time ago, and that idea got them into the position of leadership they're in, so they have to commit to that idea and see it all the way through. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. But ultimately, in that culture, even if that idea ends up being fucking stupid and really bad and not good for the consumer, these people feel forced to keep going no matter what, to keep pushing for that no matter what. That is just ridiculous. I feel like that culture needs to stop because it's getting us to places where the decisions these people are making are bad. It's always been that way, but the decisions these people are making are bad and the results are even worse. But we're creating a culture in corporate that really, really pushes those bad ideas all the way to completion or else. People are so not okay with giving up in corporate. Obviously, if you give up, you've already dedicated so much time and resources to this thing that it's an immediate failure. You've lost so much money. We've put so much money into this idea, so many man hours, whatever, what have you, and you failed, and now it's over, and you're a failure. Like, let's think about the thing that we're trying to promote. Let's see if it starts doing well or not. And let's not try to pivot to make it do better. If we already feel like, oh shoot, maybe this isn't gonna go well, let's exit. Let's stop doing that thing and start again. Let's stop the culture of, man, we've already sunk all those man hours into it, now we're gonna kill you. Like, let's be okay with starting over. Let's be okay with changing. Let's be okay with putting product out there that is actually honed in rather than committing to an idea for your entire life and then making a product that nobody actually likes or care about and still committing to it. It's a bad culture. It's not good. But do you guys see that in other products and initiatives, especially in your own corporate work? Maybe you work for a place that has this weird initiative and you're like, what the hell? Like, that's going nowhere, but people have staked their lives on it, so interesting. Now it's my problem as well. I feel like I come across that quite a bit. But let me know what you think. I think it's a weird thing in corporate that just really gets pushed along, really gets promoted, and I don't understand why. The marketing's been around for that movie Rental Family, the Brendan Fraser film where he is an American actor in Japan who comes across an opportunity to act out situations or experiences for people that wouldn't have those experiences otherwise. For example, the first thing that he does in the movie is he is able to act like a husband getting married to a woman who doesn't really want to get married in that way, but does it to act it out for her family in secret. It's a really odd concept and one that we can't really grasp very well from an American point of view, but that film was lovely, Rental Family. Brendan Fraser, I think, does an excellent job in that film, acting from the perspective of someone who really doesn't understand, the culture behind that process. He ends up getting really connected to the people that he is acting for and with, I think there are a lot of moments in the film that, you know, are a little bit too on the nose and like a little bit too overreaching in the concepts that they're trying to show, especially like where, you know, white savior Brendan Fraser goes and does something like really, really questionable for the sake of he's my friend. I don't really think that that's the route that should have been gone to show this point. But ultimately, I feel like the film has a lot of footing and really shows something that is so deeply sentimental, so deeply valuable to a lot of people, and shows a part of the culture of Japan that really hasn't been touched on very much in like media, popular media even. The movie's on Hulu. If you ever want to give it a shot, I think it's just, it was a really wonderful watch. Made me tear up for sure. And it had just so much sentimentality in it. I really feel there are so many people out there who need this, who need that kind of, you know, even if it's fake, even if it's not real, they need the experience to happen in their lives. Some people need to feel like they, for once, are loved by their mom or their dad. Some people need to feel like they're noticed, an older person or a younger person even, especially in Japan society. But it could be reflected in a lot of other places too. There are so many American peoples who go unloved, unexperienced, unseen, who could benefit from something like that, who could benefit psychologically from just being seen in some way. It's really, really important, and it's a really amazing concept that they tried to put onto film. And I think for the most part, they did it very well. So if you have an opportunity, go and watch Rental Family on Hulu or wherever it is. It's a great watch, and you get to see Brendan Fraser be awesome again. So that's enough reason for me. All right, who else is excited for Project Hail Mary? It's going to be coming out, I think, in 2 weeks or so from when I recorded this, sometime in March. I am really, really excited to see it. I've heard a lot of great things about it so far, that it really does the book justice. Andy Weir, he wrote Project Hail Mary a while ago. It is about a scientist that goes to space to try to save the Earth. Quite a concept, obviously. The trailers kind of are giving it away. There is an alien in the film, and there's an alien in the book. But it's really a book about the human, I guess, ability to overcome obstacles. And if you have not read the book, I highly suggest reading it. It's one of my favorite books from the past several years. I really love it. But it really speaks to the human ability to overcome obstacles. As in the book and in the story itself, there are a lot of obstacles that need to be overcome in order to solve the issues that are plaguing the world and the universe at large, for that matter, in this situation. There's a lot at stake, and a lot of really cool science that goes on. Science, engineering, all of the above that goes on in this book. But it also really speaks to humanity bridging the gap between understanding of peoples and understanding of species even too. Which, obviously, if you can't tell, I'm super excited about this. And it's one of my favorite books for a very good reason. It really touches on a lot of the things about humanity at large and human culture, but in a really fun, explanative, like scientific way. I really like the story. I really suggest, if you have not read it, read Project Hail Mary, go for it. I mean, this is the guy who wrote The Martian, which was the previous really, really good, highly rated science movie about space. So instead of Matt Damon, we have Ryan Gosling in that same situation, really. He is more or less kind of stranded in space in some ways. I'm not going to give away the plot at all. It is truly, it's a really great read, and I know that the movie is going to be great as well. The story that is there that needs to be told, I think is one that everyone can really relate to. I really love it, and it really shows a lot of the cool things about sci-fi that I've always really loved. So if you're interested in it, go and see it. I'm going to definitely try to go and see it in the theaters when it comes out. I am super, super jazzed about it. And if you are too, let me know. And that's kind of it for this walk, guys. Thanks for coming along with me. I know it's kind of been a wild ride this week, but I really appreciate you being here. And if you made it this far, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching through. I know I talk about a lot of ridiculous things and a lot of silly stuff, but I'm just putting my thoughts out there. And if you're here, I really appreciate you. I believe in you. I think you will do great and have a wonderful week. And no matter what, I hope that you persevere. There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world right now, but we can get through it together. So, ganbate, fighting, all of the above. Let's get out there and do it together. So thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe if you feel inclined, and we'll see you in the next one.